Many people dream of having a defined, ripped back and achieving the perfect pull-up, high pull-up or muscle-up. The problem is they ignore the exercise they need the most, and this is the inverted row. In this video, I will tell you what you're missing if you don't do inverted rows, and trust me, you don't want to miss this because you'll regret it. When we talk about bodyweight training, everyone mentions exercises like push-ups, dips, pull-ups and squats. So the pulling exercise is the pull-up. Don't get me wrong, pull-ups are great and the best for growing your lats. But overall, if you want a back like a topographical map, you should probably focus on inverted rows first. Why? Simply because most people can't do pull-ups properly and therefore can't fully utilize their potential. Pull-ups can be done at an advanced level to work your back muscles comprehensively, but without rows, most people just pull up in a way that mainly works the lats and arms without properly engaging the other muscles. A chest-to-bar pull-up or even an arched chest-to-bar pull-up can have similar effect as rows, but most people can't do this because they've either skipped or neglected the inverted row. So just to be clear, you can develop the ability for perfect pull-ups by practicing and completing inverted rows properly. Plus, a properly executed inverted row can uniquely and comprehensively work your back muscles. In this movement, the trapezius, rhomboids, teres major and minor, the lats, and thanks to the support on your legs and keeping your body straight, the posterior chain, including the deep back muscles, are also involved, which don't get such a role in pull-ups. As I said, most people can't do pull-ups that engage all the muscles I mentioned, and this is a big reason why I say that for a large percentage of people, the inverted row is the one back exercise they should be doing because it will teach them how to engage these muscles. The inverted row teaches you to properly activate and use your muscles so you can later activate them during pull-ups, making your back look ripped. So with rows, 1. You can engage and grow more muscles, training your back more comprehensively, and 2. You can master the proper technique for future perfect pull-ups and pave the way for further muscle growth. But proper execution is also crucial here. Unfortunately, rows can also be done incorrectly, so now let's go over the proper technique to ensure you to get the most out of this exercise. Like in any other exercise, scapula position and control are key here. During rows, you need to depress and adduct your scapulas, and just trying and practicing this alone, you will feel the muscles working. Try this simple exercise first. Just stand and place your arms in front of you and depress your shoulders and pull them back. If you focus fully on these movements, you will feel your lats working during the scapular depression and your rhomboids and traps when you adduct them, imagining you are trying to pinch a piece of paper between them. If you feel this, try the same thing by grabbing a pair of rings and doing it a roughly 45-degree body position. I recommend rings or suspension trainer for this exercise because their free movement allows you to focus better on the full range of motion and muscle contractions. This simple exercise alone proves that if you can transfer this feeling and control to the inverted row involving arm flexion and full range of motion, you can train your back muscles very effectively. However, many people go wrong by jumping straight into the exercise, whether it's pull-ups or they recognize the importance of rows, but they can't control their scapulas, and with a neutral or rounded back, they perform the movement mainly using their arms. Unfortunately, this won't yield much result, at most training the arm flexors and somewhat the lats, but not as effectively. Therefore, scapular activation is crucial as mentioned earlier, and now let's look at how to perform the row itself. There are 2 ways to do it, with pre-activation of the scapulas and by continuously engaging them during the exercise. I'll explain the difference and then which one I prefer. Firstly, with pre-activation of the scapulas, you can secure the proper technique and range of motion. If you were able to do the simple scapular activation exercise mentioned earlier, then you essentially just need to do the same and you will already feel the muscle tension, and then add the pulling motion with your arms, directing your elbows behind your body as much as you can and maximizing the contraction of the back muscles. So by pre-activating your scapulas, you are already contracting the muscles, pre-activating them, and with the arm pulling, your elbows moving behind your body, you maximize their contraction. A good checkpoint for this is that the rings come next to your chest and you can touch the rings with the side of your chest. Regarding the chest, as you perform the scapula activation by depressing and retracting your shoulders, the chest will pop out, and you should strive for this throughout the arm pull and at the end of the range as well. Keep your body straight, your head aligned with your torso, and proudly pop out your chest, especially at the top end. At this point, your scapulas will be fully depressed and adducted, your elbows behind your body, and your hands next to your chest, resulting in your chest being popped out while keeping your head aligned with your body. If you tuck your head or push it forward, you will mess up the end position and won't achieve the full peak contraction of the back muscles. Compensating with your head usually happens when the progression is too difficult and you try to help the range of motion, which won't lead to results. In fact, it's counterproductive, so if you notice this, step back in intensity. The second execution is when you continuously engage your scapulas during the row, which I would say is an advanced technique because many people can't utilize the full range since they don't have enough body awareness and experience in the movement. In this execution, arm pulling and scapular activation happen simultaneously and gradually from a passive hang with extended arms to the top end position without the separate pre-activation and then arm pulling. The movement is essentially the same, paying attention to the upper end point and positioning, just the path to get there is different. Personally, I prefer the continuous execution, but for beginners, I recommend either learning the technique thoroughly beforehand or performing the beginner progressions with the pre-activation to master the proper technique and body awareness, and then gradually transitioning to the continuous execution. The process of building up the inverted row itself is simple. Start in a higher position, about 20 degrees, and pay attention to the earlier technique. This won't be hard, but it's great for learning the technique. Here, you can do higher reps, even 20 to 30. If this goes well, then ensuring the execution remains perfect, do it at 45 degrees, horizontally, with bent legs, then straight legs, and finally with elevated legs, which is the final goal. The basic rule is that if you can do 3 sets of 15 reps with proper execution in a progression, you can move on. After achieving the basic level, to further increase strength and muscle growth, it's worth keeping rows in your training plan and increase the intensity. For this, you can do one-arm progressions or perform the exercise with extra weight, which will take your physique to a whole new level. If you haven't seen my full tutorial on the inverted row, check it out on the channel after this one. Believe me, if you put time and energy into this exercise, it will pay off exponentially. By the time you reach the elevated leg inverted rows with the mentioned rep count, you will not only undergo a complete transformation, but will also be able to do a few chest to bar pull-ups instantly. Then, you can continue working effectively without mistakes, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video. As you can see, there are details like this you should pay attention to during your training to avoid failure. Neither I nor my students achieved our goals by accident. To succeed, you need proper knowledge and the system. Gymnastics method is a well-structured system that has evolved to this level based on over 15 years of experience and the success of thousands of people, saving you years in achieving your goals. Not to mention that most people stop training due to injuries, which we address from the very beginning to prevent. If you want to achieve similar results to mine or my students in the fast lane, saving years of trial and error, apply to one-on-one coaching or join the Gymnastics Method community with the app and get access to all programs, tutorials, daily workouts and much more. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more, and now check out my earlier videos on the end screen.